Hello, welcome to my lab. I'm LA. I let my Instagram followers decide what I'll be drawing today. I put out a poll with different questions and options for quizzes to decide what we'll be drawing. And you guys responded. So let's get started. So the polls voted for a girl, also Clown Aesthetic won, and Harry. And it was 50-50 on slim or thick, so they're not going to be slim or thick, like in between. I start out by using color blocking to get a silhouette for the face. I've been doing this to get more unique face shapes. So far, I'm going in with big hair and pretty basic clown makeup. Now I'm interpreting Harry as long hair, bushy brows, so I give her a full mane. And for my second design, I'm thinking to go more elegant with a French Rococo inspired look. I like this heart eye idea I had going on. I really like the idea of her being pink and blue and yellow, sunset colors, maybe purple. Now I really like this idea, but I'm not 100% sure about it. I do like Rococo a lot, but I'm thinking more of a fun area. For my final design, I color block in a big afro. Now, I struggle with afros a lot, so I'll go with a simple shape. And I'm really using features of art that I enjoy drawing, like these bean-shaped irises, these thick blocky eyebrows, and I was thinking very full, big pink lips. Now I'm layering in the afro like a mop, if that makes sense. I like mop-like afros with the coils on the end, and I color her coils for some more texture. It really helps give her hair more of a 3D shape. Now I added this very central blush. I thought it was a cute idea. It makes her face a bit more round. And I like these hearts I add on top. Also, I don't usually do yellow eyes, so I thought that was a cool idea, so I'm going with this one. Now that we know what design we're going with, let's move on to thumbnailing. So thumbnailing comes a little bit before the actual sketching process. I'm starting with a medium brown tone so my coloring can be neutral at one point, but I'm just doing little thumbnail sketches with the same proportion of my image for ideas I have for it to draw. My first one was her juggling in a crowd, and then I thought about having her really close to the camera and maybe holding her cheeks all cute oh hello, I'm just a little clown girl. Something really adorable. Maybe she's kind of sneaky or sly. I also make sure to get my angles right and to make the composition really interesting, guide the eye across the piece. Use some foreshortening ideas. I have other juggling ideas. And I also thought, what if she had a pie or something? Just general clown things. Now the juggling pose has lots of foreshortening with the hand being front and center, her right hand, and her body is tilted away from the camera. I thought this would be a very interesting pose to do, as well as provide a bit of a challenge because her hand, is right there, and hands can be tricky to draw. I use color blocking once again to sculpt out her form, that way I can get a good hold of the shape language and also realize what would catch the eye. I'm using large blocks of color and just sculpting that out around her form. Now I do use some guidelines for her face, but I'm still going again with colors and stuff to help sculpt that out. I size the image down because I want there to be more space. I want everything to be seen, not only her hair, but the background, what she's doing. I want to be clear that she is a clown in a circus and that she's doing clown things. Now, one way I tackled this pose was I actually used myself as a reference. I took a photo in this exact same position, and I was referencing this image while I was drawing. Now, you're not going to see this photo because I looked crazy doing it, but it really did help. It helped me understand how the hand was shaped, how to play with the hand more. Her right hand has some interesting shapes going on that aren't really true to reality, but are still very interesting to look at and clearly convey to the viewer that that is a hand. So now I'm moving on to the inking stage, and I like to start my inking by lining out the face and then line the rest of it. So I'm mainly doing the main details of the face, like the eyelashes, the mouth, everything like that. And I'm just getting down the basic shape so everything is where I think it should be. Around this time, I learned how to use the Alpha Lock layer, so you'll notice that I changed the line art color of her irises. And right now, I'm sketching out a shape so I can figure out how to align the ruffles on her little frilly choker, that thing that clowns wear. I also was thinking, let's get kind of fun with this piece, do something a little bit different, something unplanned. So I gave her this really gnarly monster mouth in her neck. I just thought it was kind of cool, to just have that there. Now, I really wanted to sculpt these hands out, but then I thought clowns wear very oversized clothing. A lot of what they wore was either, I think, because they were homeless or based on homelessness. So all their clothing is like large and not quite well-fitting. So I really focused on adding more wrinkles to her clothing because it wouldn't really be fitting on her likely. It would more than likely be really baggy, This time around, I thought to really focus on my line art and how it looks without color. So I'm adding lots of shading details, lots of cross hatching, lots of line weight. I'm really going in to add some strong dark shadows here and there and pay closer attention to the details. Now, when I draw traditionally, I do like to add shadows in the face and everything, but it doesn't really translate well digitally. So I just keep going with the clothing, adding these really dark shadows to help bring things out. And I'm already thinking about the direction I want the light to go in when I add these shadows. Now I'm fleshing out the hair a bit, and now I'm adding in the color. I like to use a color block and then use a clipping mask to color on top of that and separate all the main colors by layer. I colored in her skin first. I did have a poll for what skin tone she should have, and it was kind of between like a warm gold and like a light fair tone, but she's gonna wear makeup anyways, so it's gonna cover up most of that. I'm separating my layers now because I did everything on one layer because I figured out the Alpha Lock layer, and then I didn't like that idea. So I'm just separating everything and doing it on separate layers. That way it's easier to manipulate everything else. I had this lavender onesie for her, but I was like, that's too much purple in the piece. So I chose to use a light white, like an off-white cream color, and a pale pink for the stripes. Now I'm doing her makeup as if it was like actual makeup. I used an oil brush so I can get lighter areas as if she applied her makeup unevenly. I give her a sunset cut crease and like a pink shimmery lid because I thought it was like, fun. Like she really paid attention to her makeup. Let's work on backgrounds. First, I lower the opacity of my subject and I start sketching in my idea for what I want the background to look like. I use very dark, desaturated tones to hint at a shadow. And I start working in very loose, lineless colors for what I want the audience to be. I want the audience to have lots of diversity, very loose shapes, just so it's communicated that there is an audience in the background without there being too much focus. I'm adding a variety of types and closeness to indicate relationships, or maybe people came in pairs or as a family, things like that. I also want to hint at the seats and how they're set up in the room, and I want the lighting to focus on the center subject. So I do add in some shading using a warm purple tone. Now I'm using some quick line art just to give them general faces so they're identifiable, a little more details, and I'll look on the main subject again. I use the hue to create a colorized layer, and then I start using a clipping mask to add in the shadows here and there. I want my light to come from above, so I'm thinking about how that will affect her face, her hair, and her clothing. I set that layer to multiply, and then I play around a little bit with the layer effect. I start adding some soft lighting here and there, adding more details to the irises, and the nose, of course. And I'm just going with general highlights everywhere, just touching up everything, adding details to the balls that she's juggling. And then my final step that I'm going to do is the hair. I start by adding in the coils really quickly. I want to be messy and loose. I find that using loose, quick brush strokes better shows the shape of an afro. And here's our clown girl. What do you think? Comment below if you have something to say. And I hope you subscribe so you can see all the bizarre experiments I create. Thanks for watching. Bye!